Well, Greg, you just returned recently from South Korea, and as we talked about it, we started this hour talking about how North Korea has topped the Open Doors World Watch List as the #1 persecutor of Christians in the world for more than 15 years.
Yeah.
It's kind of the #1 spot you don't want to reach.
It's a dangerous place, and it's a place that, as you mentioned, continues to be at the top of the list because of the control over the mind. You have to worship the Kim family, Kim Il-sung, who started the Juche system, which is an ideology, and it's very, very difficult to not to be participating in that. And you could end up in jail, you could be killed. They put all these horrible concentration camps. So it's a place where, it is difficult to see the gospel. And it's interesting when you go back about 100 years or more, Pyongyang actually had revival there. It was the stronger of the two Koreas. I mean, it's one country and you think of Korea. But now, of course, with really an artificial divide. Koreans are Korean people. But it was stronger economically even. Of course, now we look at South Korea with some of the largest churches in the world and a robust economy, and North Korea being this very, very dark place.
And you were there doing something so fascinating to me anyway. You're teaching at an underground university for North Koreans, in South Korea, not in North Korea. But these are people who've defected and they want to learn about God. They want to become a minister.
Yeah, they want to be missionaries to North Koreans.
Oh,
yeah. So now
in North Korea.
Well, yes and no. I mean, they would like the prayer is that the two Koreas would become one again, unification. So that's what they're praying for. But in the meantime, they're reaching in people in South Korea, North Korean defectors. And we were able to actually go to some of the homes and visit with them. And so, Voice of the Martyrs Korea with Underground University, we were there, and it's a discipleship school, and it's not telling. And mostly women, by the way, and most of them over 65.
That's crazy. Like, you actually met Mrs. Lee. How old is she?
She is now 86.
We have a picture of her.
Isn't she sweet?
She's 86 years old, and she's going to Bible college to be a missionary.
Yeah, and that's what she's doing. I mean, and she still has her health, and it's hard to know how long, of course, a person will last on this earth. But I said to Eric Foley, when he started Underground University, what kind of students were you looking for? Well, I'm looking for, the young guys and the young women and train them up for long ministries. But he said that's not who we were finding as they went to the churches in Seoul. Who are the North Korean defectors? And these are women, because they were, as I said before, they were sex trafficked, many of them, and that's how they got out of the country into China and escaped.
Of course I know about sex trafficking to China. That happens from Cambodia where we work, so we see that a lot. But I had no idea that was happening in North Korea. It seems so close. Like, how do they? Well,
you had when China put in the policy of the one child, and then a lot of the babies that were being aborted were girls. So it messed up the whole system. So that's where they were going into North Korea, and or these women that had escaped, and then that they would force them into marriage.
Wow, well, it's such important work that you've done around the world, Greg. And we hear about these stories briefly. What can we do for people who are suffering like that? I'm sure the North Koreans you met had incredible stories of suffering.
Yeah, and stories that when you hear them, it just really causes you a lot of anxiety to hear it. But the #1 thing is to pray. To get behind ministries like Voice of the Martyrs and Open Doors Canada, as we minister to our brothers and sisters, and often going and just saying, we know about what's happening, we care about you, and we're praying for you.
I think, that's why we bring these stories to you. We want to keep you updated what's happening around the world, especially with people of faith. And the worst thing that would happen would be to suffer like that and to be forgotten. So we want people to know that we remember them. Please remember them in prayer. And we'll remember you in prayer.